Hello, everybody, and welcome to the webinar today. This is Jeff Thompson, and today I'm going to introduce to you something we're calling structured optimized life insurance and how it can be the key that you need to close nearly every case without having to use any complicated software or sales techniques. So people are still logging in like crazy, so we may just take a moment here, and I'm just going to cover a little housekeeping stuff here. First off, I want to thank you all for showing up. I know you probably get invited to about 20 webinars or more every day, so I really appreciate your time. We're going to try to keep this to around 45 minutes and have some questions at the end, so you'll have time to ask any of your questions at that point. First thing I want to mention is, if you've been in the life insurance industry for a while and you've failed to close some of those big cases in the past, it's not really your fault. There's a lot of complicated stuff out there in the industry, shiny objects to chase, and a lot of those things may not translate into sales commission. So many times that information overload is often what keeps people from, getting stuff across the finish line and having success in the business, and that's okay. So if you think that in the past you haven't been able to succeed in our industry, and life insurance is definitely sold. It's a hard business to be in. I want to put those fears to rest, because if you can sell term insurance, you're going to be able to sell SOLI. You're going to be able to do this. You just need the right person and the right tools to help get you there. And I think the resources you're going to see today and the support that you're going to have available is really going to help you do that. Now, obviously, our ad campaign was kind of a big splash with a big claim, 70% savings over the competition for GUL over the life of that policy. That is a big claim, we know that. The competition definitely wants you to think that what you're going to see today is too good to be true or too complicated to do. I'm here to tell you they're wrong. They obviously have their own self-serving reasons for wanting you to think that. That's simply not true, and we can prove it. We will prove it later in the webcast here as we get going. So it looks like we still have boatloads of people logging in. Anyways, if you've ever thought selling life insurance is too difficult, I'm with you. It is tough, and it's sometimes impossible to get that competitive edge with life insurance just because the market is so competitive. If you run a GUL spreadsheet, the cheapest product on that spreadsheet is probably only a couple of bucks less than the next one down. So how do you get a competitive edge on price of all things? You really normally have been used to competing on something other than price. So here is something that's you're going to see today that's going to give you a dramatic competitive advantage when it comes to price, which seems almost too good to be true, and I get that. But you're going to be able to deliver that unrivaled competitive advantage to your clients. The cool thing about that is it's like dropping you right in the middle of a big blue ocean of opportunity, just because you will not have any competition that's even a remote threat with this tool in your hands. So that's what we're here for. I know many of you have big dreams to do great things in this industry, get to top of the table, have meaningful impact with your business and your community, obviously get paid well doing all that. Of course, we like that part too. And I want to show you how to make that happen during this webinar and with the SOLI solution. So welcome, everyone. We're going to get started. I know there's still people logging in, but we're going to just dive in here. So I have a couple of goals, both for the webinar and for you. So the first goal is really to help two people that are here today. And we have a huge turnout, so thanks again for everybody showing up. That's obviously the already successful agents that are looking to take their business to that next level, whatever that means to you. You're going to have a tool that can really leverage you to do that. And then there's also advisors that really have just kind of ignored the life insurance business. You may have been you're very successful assets under management guy, got a lot of clients that might be perfect opportunities for life insurance, but just really haven't delved in. This is going to give you something so powerful and so differentiated and with such a competitive pricing advantage that you shouldn't really have much trouble closing the business. So this is a great way to get into that market and get into the top production of the industry in the next 12 months. So both of those groups, by the end of this webcast, we're going to cover three keys that I consider instrumental in closing nearly every life insurance case that you present. And the other goal I have is really kind of address what's holding you back from having that unlimited success in the life insurance business. I personally have a strong belief that it's getting that competitive advantage that's so great that no one else can even come close to competing with your offer. So in essence, like I said earlier, kind of having that monopoly, or being dropped into the midst of a big blue ocean of opportunity. That makes it a heck of a lot easier to grow your business. So I want to make sure that by the time we're done here today, that you'll, one, realize that that competitive advantage is really the only way to get this huge closing rate. By having something so competitive that the nearest competitor is just not even a shadow. And secondarily, is that the only way to get that huge pricing advantage that I'm aware of after having been in the industry for over 20 years is through this innovation that you're going to learn about called structured optimized life insurance. So a couple things, if you stick around to the end, I'm going to give you an opportunity to access some tools to help you get this into practice in your business. A secret weapon that I consider an unrivaled or giant competitive advantage. So there'll be some training stuff there and a support package. I think you're going to find the offer that we make at the end here better than risk-free for you. And you'll only get this opportunity if you stick around to the end. So hope to keep you on all webinar here. So now's the time to stop reading emails, surfing the web, get off Facebook, pay attention, because we're going to get into something that is proprietary technology that you're not going to hear from other life insurance carriers, wholesalers, FMOs, really anyone else. And so you're not going to want to miss what we get into here. By the way, if you are from a competing FMO, we welcome FMO inquiries, just so you know. So hang out as well. So you're probably wondering who the heck I am. Now, some of you may already have been a part of quantum marketing and are familiar with my work, but why would you want to listen to me? Well, who is this guy? Well, I've been a coach to some of the top agents in the industry, ECA Marketing's top 3 agents, in fact, in 2018 year to date. I've helped agents achieve MDRT top of the table in record time. I've coached agents who've been able to increase their revenue from anywhere from 100% to 1,000% in life insurance premiums. And that's, over different time frames, but some of those were as little as a year or two. So I'm not going to get into all the boring details about me, but I've been in the industry for about 20 years. Probably my claim to fame is I'm best known for finding unique, differentiated, or leveraged ways to increase your marketing. And I'm known for having a passion for marketing that goes back all the way to 1988. So that dates me a little bit, but I'm not going to get into all that either. Came from the life settlements business, where I closed $350 million in settlements in about 18 months. So that's a pretty big number if any of you are familiar with that business. And I guess that's enough about me. So, and obviously this is another thing that I think this tool is really going to help you to do, amongst other stuff that we have available. In the past 12 months, we've helped a number of agents actually earn from $50,000 to $100,000 in a single policy. And some of those agents, that was really just the tip of the iceberg, the very beginning. So today I'm also joined by industry expert and life insurance master, I would say, in my opinion, our partner in this SOLI solution, Brian Setzler. He is a highly regarded presenter at Advanced Markets life insurance conferences. I know him to be very passionate about life insurance and a life insurance advocate. He's definitely an industry thought leader and innovator. He is the mastermind behind the SOLI solution. So welcome, Brian. You want to say hi to everyone?
Hi, everybody. Appreciate everybody coming. Should be an exciting day. I look forward to going through the material.
Thanks, Brian. So we're going to hear from Brian in just a minute here, but he's got a heck of a list of credentials as well. He's a multiple MDRT top of the table qualifier, quarter of the table qualifier, and of course just MDRT. As we already mentioned, he's the creator of the SOLI solution. He likes to call that the industry's lowest cost, best performing permanent life insurance solution. And I can tell you from looking at cases and working on some cases as we beta tested and started to roll this out in the last couple months, that is absolutely true. And you're gonna believe that as well by the time we get to the end of this webcast. So he's been a top producer in the industry and been around since about 1989. So, all right. So our history goes back a little ways. There's a fortunate meeting, and actually I want to kind of give you a little background story. There was an advanced life insurance conference that I was attending, and Brian was actually one of the presenters at that event. I would say it was probably a couple of years ago, and just a little bit of serendipity that I happened to be in the room and paying attention at that time, and he was presenting an advanced premium finance idea that he developed that was very unique, and I was impressed with it enough to reach out to him and start to develop a professional relationship with him, and that's what's led us here today. Now, what was interesting is he wasn't presenting on SOLI at that time. He had been secretly working on something over this time, over the last 10 years or so, that was an even bigger idea. And fortunately, I got to be in on the ground floor of it as one of the first people he decided to share it with. And I recognized almost immediately that what he had developed was something that would change the way life insurance is sold in the industry. And so I'm excited to have you all see it, because I think you're going to see the same thing that I did. And this can revolutionize, I think it's going to revolutionize the entire industry. So anyways, so I've done a lot of things right in this business over the years and done a lot of things wrong. Some of the stuff that I've done wrong is, learning case by case and, making adjustments. Let's see here. Let me get my train of thought here. Sorry, I'm just a little distracted by something on my computer here. So one of the things that obviously you can learn from doing stuff that's, making those mistakes, is that you can make distinctions and hopefully try to avoid those in the future. And of course, price being one of those big things that can make a big impact in whether or not you close a case or not. With SOLI, I think you're going to virtually eliminate failure, at least regarding price objections. So we know that there are many reasons somebody buys something. I coach that there's 5 buying decisions: salesperson, company, product, price, and time to buy. Price is a big part of that. And, if you can walk into a BMW dealer and they're selling all their cars at 70% below market, you're probably thinking, well, what's wrong? What happened to them? Were they in a flood? What was, what's the deal? But what if there was nothing wrong with them? What if they were the same brand new spec cars, perfect condition as every other, and you could still offer it at 70% below market? You think that dealer might be a little more successful than everyone else? Probably. So anyways, I've been around the wholesaling end of the industry for about 13 years, 7 years with DCA marketing. And after testing and experimenting, coaching with a lot of willing agents, I discovered 3 big things. That is me, by the way, a few years back, a few pounds lighter with a little more hair. And that is that differentiation in the market can dramatically shorten your sales cycle, and it can eliminate the competition. And there are a lot of ways to differentiate, but one of them is, of course, by having a significant pricing advantage. Doing what everyone else is doing is definitely going to undermine your ability to dominate your market. So showing up the same as everyone else is not a competitive marketing strategy. And this is going to give you a tool, as you'll see, that can make whatever you show in terms of life insurance dramatically different than someone else that is using just off-the-shelf products from the competition. And with an irresistible offer, which I think you're also going to see you're going to be able to provide, people will choose to do business with you versus the competition. If you knew that you could always give somebody that you're showing a life insurance solution to an irresistible offer, I mean, wouldn't that give you like the ultimate confidence to know that you can probably close this case? So for those of you, like I said, who are already familiar with my work, you know that I'm always researching strategies, tactics, trying to get you that competitive edge, that differentiation. What you're about to learn today is really a discovery that I consider a financial hidden treasure. It's a true innovation in the insurance industry. It's going to sound too good to be true for sure. And as I mentioned, it is definitely real. We are going to prove that to you here in just a few minutes. And that's why I created a training program in conjunction with Brian to teach it to you and help you market it. So, Brian, before we go any further here, I wanted to just ask you a quick question. Where the heck did this thing come from? How did this, did this drop out of the sky, pop up in a dream? Were you in the shower and wham, you got hit by a bolt of lightning and here was this idea? Or I guess give us a little background on how this all came about.
Well, it's been over a 10-year process to gradually chip away at the refinements that took place. And part of the reason it took so long was the products weren't quite ready yet in order to do this. But I guess it really springs forth from my dissatisfaction with normal product solutions. And I was trying to figure out a way to improve the overall pricing of permanent life insurance without having to resort to premium financing every time in an effort to try to come up with a differentiator that was attractive to the client. So really pleased to get into the details in a few minutes, and then we'll answer everybody's questions. So
great. Well, thank you for sharing that. So if you're trying to close nearly every sale, and that'll definitely help you get to the top of the table faster at MDRT, this is what I consider the hard way, and that is that you approach the market with the same exact offer or products as everyone else. That's clearly a red ocean, shark-infested water where you don't want to play. We want to go the other direction. And of course, trying to convince people to work with you when you really don't have much but a marginal difference from your competition. And frankly, in the financial services business, for many of us, that's all we have, is that marginal advantage or marginal difference that makes us seem better to the client. Now, it's obviously in most cases in a non-price related area because everybody else has the same products off the shelf that you do. This is going to change all that. So if you can just take a moment here and imagine what your life would be like after you know how to crack the code to getting every case across the finish line and getting a commission, or at least nearly every case. Can't guarantee every case, but we'll at least put you in a position where you're going to win every case, at least on price. So what would you do with that extra time that you gain from being able to close most of your cases and not having to get back on the treadmill over and over again, or even chasing prospects or convincing people to do business with you, because you're going to have such a competitive advantage that they're going to be attracted to doing that business with you? What's your family going to say when you're making way more money, maybe even working fewer hours? How's it going to feel when you have prospects actually coming to you because you're the guy that can get this done better than anybody else? What would you do differently with your business or your life if nearly all of your clients resulted in a commission? So think about that, because this is something that's amazing, that's going to let you do that. And we're really lucky that Brian's actually willing to share this, because he could have easily kept this to himself. So this is a good time for a quick little disclaimer. The program discussed today will work for everyone, but not everyone is going to work this program. So for those of you who obviously showed up here today, the majority probably won't choose to get access. That's just the 80-20 rule. That's just because people fail to act decisively and some people just don't follow through. So, and that's the way it is. But those of you who do, the many that are here that are going to act on this, you're going to have some results that are not typical. All right, so let's dive right into the 3 keys to closing nearly every case. The closing key number 1 is to make an irresistible offer. Now, that if you've been on any of my other webinars before, you know that this is a critical part of my marketing approach. The hard part is actually delivering on that. How the heck do you get an irresistible offer? Well, we've come up with a couple things over the years, but this blows them all out of the water. Because it truly becomes an irresistible offer. If you have a client that needs or wants life insurance for any reason, we're going to be able to just knock it out of the park with a competitive advantage that nobody can touch. And so probably the most important thing I've discovered in the industry, from a marketing perspective, is you know, and maybe even how to sell anything in any industry, but especially something intangible like life insurance, is that if you make that irresistible offer, people are going to buy from you. So closing key number 2 is closing the sale often hinges on knowing with absolute certainty that you have the best offer. Now, part of that is probably more than anything else, the confidence that you exude when you enter the room to meet your prospect, and with the passion and confidence that you present your offer. They pick up on that. And when you have a little bit of doubt in your own mind, they pick up on that as well. So knowing that you have, the best game in town definitely helps convey that certainty to your prospects and increases your closing rate just by default. And then the third closing key is that the best prospects are existing owners of life insurance. Now, we'll get more into that maybe in a little bit, but obviously they've already made the decision that they needed life insurance and they've purchased it. They're willing to pay the premium. They have an in-force policy. They understand the value of it. They don't have to be sold on life insurance again. They've already determined that this is an important product for them to own. So for those of you thinking, oh gosh, I don't know of anybody that might want life insurance, even if it is at a 70% savings. The bottom line is there's an unlimited market out there because of the fact that existing policy owners exist all over the place. So closing key number 1, in my opinion, why engage in competition when you can just dominate your market with this irresistible offer, right? And as I said earlier, that's often harder than it sounds in our industry, especially when everybody has access to the same products at the same price and all that. So what I'm going to do right now is we're going to give you the proof. We're going to bring Brian back here and turn it over to him for a few minutes and show you what an irresistible offer looks like with the SOLI solution and some examples of it. So Brian, we're going to flip it over to you here and let you show everybody the money here, as they say.
Well, super. Thank you, Jeff. We're going to get right into it. Let's talk about the status quo in the life insurance business right now. All protection permanent life products are created by the actuaries at the home offices of all the top companies, and they're generally designed to address a single need, which is presumed to be permanent insurance at the lowest annual premium over a lifetime. So the instructions or directive that are given to those actuaries is the following: please create a product with the lowest annual premium to compete with whoever the competitor happens to be. The key assumption is that the client will always pay their premium on time, and if they skip premiums or cancel, it's entirely fine for the insurance company to figure out ways to somehow disadvantage the client in some way. And agents, we know that this is true. We can never predict which clients may have to make a modification or change to the life insurance plan that we sell them, but we also know if that happens, there's an opportunity for the client to become dissatisfied with the product that we sold them. And if that happens, it's very possible that it can injure the relationship of trust that has been built up between you and that client. So the idea here is that the responsibility of an actuarial team and a life insurance carrier is really, the allegiance is to the employer, which in that case is the insurer, not the client. So if we know that going in, what we're trying to do here is create maximum value for our clients. What structured optimized life insurance does is we're answering the question, an entirely different question. What we're trying to do is answer the question, please create a solution that's good for my client, even if my client wants to modify the plan in the future. Structured optimized life insurance is designed by an agent, me, for agents and their clients to allow the following benefits. We want the lowest overall cost compared to all other competitors. And we can line up against anybody you want, and we will crush them.
Yeah, when Brian says crush, he's not exaggerating there, so you'll see that in a minute here.
Yeah, and we also want the client to have the ability to modify the plan, because we know that things change in the client's life that may cause them to have to modify the plan. And what we want to do is be able to represent the best plan that can do the best job in accommodating those changes, even those changes that we can't completely anticipate. But it's our sincere belief if we design the very best solution, it will attract the very best agents who will sell it to their very best clients. So anyway, start at the beginning. Why do we call it structured optimized life insurance? We as agents, as you know, we don't get to price the products, the companies do. But what we can do is we can maximize existing products, and we can combine those products in ways that have not been envisioned before to address a range of client needs. So for this particular program, every single age and risk class has to be custom designed ahead of time and tested to maximize the benefits for your client using a combination of products in a package. Since we have determined that single products cannot be easily modified, then this solution, the reason it took me 10 years was because it requires thinking entirely differently, because we're using two life insurance products together, both sides of which have to be optimized in ways that we ordinarily would not optimize life insurance products, so that they work together in a package.
And that's really the proprietary part of what they're going to see here today.
Yeah, what we're going to do today is we're going to show you the comparisons, and it's based on the proprietary structure. So instead of the way we do it now, each of the agents, all of you are capable of running your own illustrations, but instead of running one illustration, what we've had to do with SOLI is create two custom illustrations and test it for every age and risk class that work together. But it also has to be very simple to demonstrate. And what we have done is we've developed, I'm going to show you a sneak peek of some software that we're working on to be able to demonstrate it in seconds. So what we're doing is we're delivering a solution that is dramatically less in cost to anything on the street, much better cash values, much better premium flexibility, and we do not have to borrow money from a bank as any aspect of this. And that's what we call it the art of life insurance plan design. So we have two structures, two suite of solutions. Today we're going to focus on the protection plan structures, and we'll worry about the LARP later. But the protection plan structure on paper looks very simple. It's the idea of combining a cash value policy with a protection policy in a package. Policy one is an overfunded policy, and protection policy generally has some level of no lapse guarantee. And this works for both single life and second to die, preferred, standard, male, female, smoker, non-smoker. We have advantages for any of those risk classes. But if we were to establish a level premium plan, we're coming in at about a 15 pay to a 16 pay, depending on the precise age. And we're running all these illustrations you're going to see today are run at about 5.35% to 5.5% is the assumed credited rate. So we're not building these with crazy assumptions into the plan. It's just, it has to do with being very skillful with the combination. If the products underperform 5.35, then it's possible the client's going to have to chip in a couple more years, but it shouldn't make a big impact in terms of how it works. The LARP structure, it's just reverse. We have a bigger cash value policy with a smaller protection policy in a package. And so we use our proprietary method to boost performance. We feed the protection policy, and that generates the maximum retirement income. So instead of this, we have happy clients is what we're after here. So back to our protection plan, what we're here to talk about today. What we have in a package, what SOLI is a combination of two policies together, cash value policy and a protection policy. We've developed a proprietary method to boost the performance of that policy so that it can feed the protection policy. What this does is it allows the client to pay less in overall premium over the balance of their lifetime. So we have a much shorter premium duration. Years ago, we used to call it the vanish. We have a much shorter premium duration that the client has to pay. The client has the ability to lower premiums and stretch those premium payments out, or the client can lower the face to generate a retirement income. So for example, if you have a client that needs a certain amount of insurance during their working years, but then post-retirement, you believe they need a lesser amount, and maybe they need a certain amount with a chronic care benefit, We can illustrate all that at point of sale, up to and including the distributions tax-free of the chronic care benefit. Or say it's a business situation where you have buy-sell need. Maybe you have two business owners that need $5 million of insurance, and they say to you, yeah, I know we need the $5 million now, but we're planning on selling the business when we retire, so why should we buy permanent life insurance when we don't believe the need is permanent? And the answer, of course, is they may very well need a permanent solution. They just don't know whether they do or not. So what we need to do as agents is demonstrate what happens if they reach a future decision 15 or 20 years from now that they don't need the full amount, and how this product performs for them. So what we need to do is create a transaction that is good, whether they need the entire face amount forever or whether they lower it and keep a smaller amount of that, and how they are impacted as a client. This shows you a premium comparison across these age bands. The lifetime premium for normal level pay solutions for a 50-year-old preferred for $5 million is $2.1 million of lifetime premiums. 55, it's 2.6. Age 60, it's 3.1. SOLI solution, protection solution, is coming in about 1/3 of those amounts across the board, and that's true all the way age 45 through age 68 or 69. And certainly we can play above age 70, but we have to do that on a case-by-case basis. There is no premium financing used in any of these comparisons. We're coming in lifetime premiums that the client's paying a fraction of what the full pay premiums are. So what you're getting as being an early participant in this is you're gaining access to a best of breed across the insurance industry every time. So every time you walk into a sales situation, you know you're bringing the absolute sharpest numbers to the table, even though the assumptions utilized that are embedded within the solution are in the low fives. We do this by optimizing two products together for maximum performance. And so if we're competing on outlay, cash values, or whether it's more of an income solution, or whether we need to have some chronic care, ancillary benefits, and so forth, we can compete in any basis, whether it's single life or second to die. And your comp split, after the split for the program, your revenue is the same or more of anything else that you would have made on 100% of the case, despite the fact that the economics are better. And that's because when we combine two products together, the targets are higher than what they ordinarily are, and it accommodates a little more comp to be in there so that we can cover what it costs to administer the program and deliver it to you. So let's go to some sample cases so you understand what we're talking about. This is a sample age 50 male preferred for $5 million. If a no lapse guarantee solution is coming in at around $49,000 a year, and if a current assumption index life product with a life expectancy based no lapse guarantee is coming in at around $41,000 a year or so. Either way, big picture, you're asking your client to commit something between $2 and $2.5 million of lifetime premiums in order to buy $5 million of life insurance. $2 to $2.5 million of premium over the lifetime of that policy for $5 million of benefit. And the reason that it's difficult to sell life insurance is many people would look at that and say, that doesn't sound like such a good deal to me. That makes our jobs harder. So what can we do to improve on this? These are companies that we all sell and know. Here we've compared Protective AG, Nationwide, PAC, and Hancock. These are the level premium solves, and what you'll see big pictures, they all add up to a similar number. Around $2 million of lifetime premiums are the projected lifetime premiums with all the carriers. Now there are differences. While Protective's premium might be a little higher, you see the cash value is a little greater. Some of these have better earlier values, better lower values. But as agents, we're trained to pick on these minor differences. But big picture, they're very similar in terms of lifetime premiums. The problem with this sort of a spreadsheeting process that I really dislike tremendously is it's designed to make the client select whoever the low man is on the list. In this case, if Hancock's the low man, Hancock wins. So the overall impression of the value proposition is that unless an agent recommends the lowest level premium solve, you're greedy and the client gets a lesser value. That's part of why it's bad. There's other reasons why it's bad. It's also leading the client to reach an erroneous conclusion that whoever is illustrating through whatever means the lowest level premium solve, that's actually definitely going to happen. Now these, as we all know, there's assumptions built into these products, and some of the carriers use different assumptions than others. But since there's only probably 6 to 10 really good competitors in this marketplace. Even though you might have been in the business 30 or 40 years, a new agent who's only been in it a year, we all have access to the same products. So someone can beat you on a sale, theoretically, if you give into the sort of a spreadsheeting war. What we're doing with SOLI is trying to change up the game entirely. All right, so let's just assume that Hancock would have ordinarily won the game. So what we're going to do with SOLI is we're going to come in slightly north of that, around 44,000. Not much more, but a little bit more. But we don't pay forever. We're only paying for around 15 years. So instead of a lifetime of premiums of 2.1 million, we're coming in at 649,000. So
Brian, I just want to ask a quick question here, because I know a lot of people are probably wondering, couldn't I just put that extra premium into the premium stream for the GUL and have it do the same thing?
No, that's the funny part about this. It just doesn't work. You can knock yourself out and try it all you want. It just doesn't work.
Right.
So what we've done here is ended up with a solution that's asking the client to go to, well, I'll get to that for just a minute, but this is like a cartoon version. Our solution has better values early and much shorter duration of premiums the client's being asked to pay. So if this is the incumbent, Hancock, who would win in this case, 39,000, we're coming in at 649. And we do that by asking the client to pay a little bit more, generally just call it 2 premiums in the first year, in an effort to jumpstart the economics of the program. And that can come from a 1035 from their existing policies, or they can write a check. And then we come in at the same premium just about in years 2, in this case through 15. But now the client doesn't have to pay any more premiums out of their pocket using the same assumptions in this product as there are in this product. So we're both assuming the same interest rate. The only difference is 1 year's premium, which is, if you'll see in a minute, it boosts the cash values. You can see here in year 5, we have 119,000 in cash compared to 56. So it wasn't stupid for someone to allocate a slightly 1 year of an additional outlay in order to jumpstart the plan so that they don't end up over here somewhere. So now you've won the case because you humiliated your competition by coming in at 649 instead of $1,960,000. Now, this is 55. We're going to go quickly through some sample ages because I know we don't have all day and you guys are busy, but I want to get right to the point. This is a male 55, 1 million, 15 pay. This is Nationwide's GUL with the exact same premiums being allocated. Ours stop in 15 years with more cash value than what the client spent. So if the client says they don't want this anymore, they cash out, they get all their money back with ours on a projected basis based on 5.3% interest rate. Whereas Nationwide, they've got to keep feeding that product, $9,000 a year forever. And so the differential is pretty significant. Our cost was $196 compared to $466. And we gave the client way more flexibility, much better cash values, and so forth. Not only that, we can actually lower our premium below the 12.2. This shows what happens in year 8 if the client decides to lower the premium to maybe 2/3 of the level that they started. They're still able to maintain around $1 million of insurance. It just stretches this premium out a little bit. This is the comparison. Here, we're able to lower our premium to $8,000. No lapse guarantee. Most of them are incapable of doing that. It triggers a lapse. They have to pay that premium, otherwise you have an immediate lapse. So not only do we have cash values, we also have the ability to lower the premium and stretch it out if that fits the client's budget more easily. So then we come in soundly below the incumbent, less than half the premium that would have been allocated to a no cash value, no lapse guarantee. Works with second to die too. This is a slightly different plan design. We're coming in with a deposit and then a reduction. In this case, the trustee wanted to loan their trust $120,000 in the first year, and then get it back in year 13. And that enabled the gifting to be within the annual gifting rules for them to establish these two 55-year-olds a $3 million death benefit. That's why we call it deposit refund. Bigger in the first year, and you get it back in year 13. This is a comparison to Lincoln, who's a big player in second to die, showing the exact same premium flow. They're out of gas at age 83. We're going to age 121. We got a bigger target. We got more cash. Much better solution than anybody on the street. So we crush second to die all day long. Same thing with chronic care. let's say if you manage money and you're managing the client's IRAs and investments, and you like the idea of offloading the liability for chronic care and you want to establish a SOLI policy in order to anticipate either a death benefit need or a combination death benefit chronic care need, we can use the deposit refund plan design in order to do that. So you create another box of money over here to anticipate some of that. This is an example of a 56 mail standard where you have a deposit, premium, and some back to get that $1 million of insurance that he needs. This is the comparison. A full pay is coming in at $14,200 forever, which I don't think he would buy in the first place, but if he did, he would spend $625,000 in order to have about $1 million of insurance. We can get that done for $170,000. And oh, by the way, the client's got way more money than what they've spent by the time they get the refund. The client gets its refund and there's still more money left than what he paid. You just totally crushed the competition with this. Now, what if he changes his mind? What if 15 years from now, after he buys it, his plans are changed and he tells you, hey, my retirement situation is not as good as I thought. You say, no problem. We fill out a form right there. We lower the face amount. Boom. And now we have some positive tax-free income coming to him right here from a source that he'd forgotten about. So we can design pre-retirement death benefit and then a lesser death benefit with tax-free income. And we can illustrate that at point of sale. So if you think about how this plays in terms of the continuum of products, whole life, if there's a knock to whole life, what is it? The premium's too high. If there's a knock to no lapse guarantee, what is it? No cash, no flexibility. Criticism of IUL with a life expectancy based no lapse guarantee, the criticism would be what? Well, I got to pay the premium forever. VUL, what's the knock? Downside risk, lack of a guarantee, unless some products have a guarantee, but most VUL it's for accumulation, so consequently there's lesser guarantees. Premium finance, what about premium finance? Well, the risk with premium finance, of course, is the difficulty in estimating the collateral, and we don't really know what's going to happen to interest rates and how that's going to impact the loan rates and consequently the client outlay. So it's a lot of variables that can move on us. And then we go to SOLI. What is it that can change here? What is the wiggle point on this whole transaction? The only wiggle point is if we're showing a 15 pay, and if the index product underperforms slightly, it just means maybe they have to pay 2 or 3 more premiums or something like that. But that's still better than paying a lifetime of premiums with a no lapse guarantee. So
Brian, I just want to interrupt here because there was a question that I thought might be appropriate to answer right now because people were asking, are the premiums guaranteed? And this is, I think, kind of addressing all that basically there's a combination of a guaranteed product, as you saw before, and an accumulation product. The assumptions, of course, are very conservative, as Brian already suggested, well below the maximum illustrated rate. That's a smaller product too, the smaller of the two. And the only real variable, because the one is basically just a standard type of a GUL product, how that works together is that you really only have, the only real wiggle room is that you might have a slightly longer premium stream than projected. Right. But like you said, it's still
the premium is guaranteed. Yeah, premium's guaranteed. What's not guaranteed is the vantage point to be 15 years. But,
right.
But that's okay because you want to put your client in position to win. If we sold him a standalone single product solution and interest rates continue to increase, with those no lapse guarantees, they still have to pay them forever, even though that really, if you think about it, what if interest rates increase 3 or 4%? Who wins? The insurance company, not the client.
Yeah, the client benefits zero from a rising rate environment.
From rising rates. So if you think about it, if we're down here illustrating SOLI at 5.25% or whatever the blend is, if interest rates increase, then the actual performance is going to be far better than what we're even showing right now. So it puts us in position, for many of us have been in the business a while, this might be the first time we're illustrating something that the results in reality may end up being far better than what we're showing. But even if they meet the projections at around 5.3 or whatever, we're just absolutely crushing everybody else and giving the client the best of what they want, which is the ability to benefit from an increasing interest rate environment, yet they still have the guarantees on 85% of the death benefit the whole way. So they're not giving up guarantees. They're getting enough guaranteed protection so that they're supremely comfortable in what it is that they're buying. But they also know that you're putting them in position to win. And I think that is the real key. And if you sign up for the tutorial and you get more comfortable with it, once you go through the whole training that Jeff has developed, I think everybody will be very comfortable with that. Jeff, do you have anything on that you want to?
No, I think we're running short on time, so we should probably keep moving here so we can get everybody back to doing what they want to do. Maybe show them a couple more comparisons if we want. Or
all right, I wanted to show you this. This is pretty cool. This is the first time that we've had access to let anybody see the proprietary software that we're working on. This is an example of a male 60 preferred for $1 million. Premiums 33 and then 16. What I wanted to show you is what if you want to show the client lowering the premium to something less than 16. Push the button, and now that premium in year 8 goes to $9,000 and it stretches out. Still a very attractive long-term outlay of $309 to have $1 million of insurance at age 60. On the other hand, what if you want to show a reduced benefit at retirement? So say he works 15 years and you want to lower it right there. You push the button and then now you show the tax-free income. It's immediately there. So we have the ability to illustrate that, or both. You can show a lesser premium here and an income stream. Or ancillary benefits. If this is our level pay, we can click a button and I can show you what it costs to add chronic care to this transaction. Just push the button and now we're at 17,000 instead of 16,000 to have $1 million with chronic care. And if you want to illustrate the chronic care benefit kicking in at a certain, I just typed in age 81 for purposes of today's webinar, you can see $147,600 of chronic care tax-free benefit being paid to the client in years 21 through 26. So they can see as that chronic care benefit is paid to them, that death benefit ticks down gradually as that chronic care benefit is being paid. So the value proposition of the transaction, the client can clearly see that paying this modest level of premium provides them a significant pre-retirement death benefit and also a significant stream of tax-free money for chronic care in the event that they need care. If they don't need care, then this death benefit stays at $1 million, and if they live to be quite old and they die in their sleep, then that $1 million or $1.1 million is there for their heirs. So you can illustrate that with a couple clicks. So your ECA marketer can produce a report with these numbers on it to very quickly turn on a proposal soon so that you can actually see this. So that instead of having to go back, hassle with a very complex illustration system, your ECA marketer can turn this around very quickly so that you can demonstrate the concept to your client, what the pricing is very quickly. This is the first time the industry's ever had a pre-optimized software program designed to very quickly show you the range of variabilities inherent in the plan. So whether you're dealing with $1 million case with chronic care, which is what this would be, or let's say you're dealing with a younger age situation and you let's see, 55, level pay. Well, if you're dealing with a $10 million case at age 55 preferred. So you can go ahead and see that that's coming in at 118. Your competition is going to be about 120 full pay forever, and you're coming in at 118 for 15 or 16 years. So you're going to be easily a third of the outlay for anybody that you're competing against. So you can win the large case with no chronic care or the smaller case with chronic care. But anyway, I'll turn it back over to Jeff. Thank you for listening today.
Yeah, and this is kind of a preview, right, Brian, of something that you're still working on, which may be like an iPad or a smartphone app that you'll be able to do, have access to the software down the road.
Exactly. This is just a beta test. We just want to make sure we don't have any bugs in it before we figure that out. We have to deal with some more software development, but we'll get there. But the future would be so that the client can drive the experience of creating their own life insurance solution instead of feeling like they're at the car dealer going back to the sales manager and waiting for them to figure out what their monthly payment is. This is the same way we've been doing the life insurance business since I've been in, and we're going to change that. We're ultimately going to have a solution that the client gets to drive, and you'll be able to have pre-optimized, best-of-breed solutions, whether they be protection like this or more focused in terms of tax-free income. So that's more to come. So we're very excited about this.
And you are at the very beginning, all you folks here today, so glad you could be on. So imagine that. You just saw the numbers there. If you could offer your prospects a way to save 70% on their permanent life insurance premiums, do you think they might be interested? I mean, talk about leverage. That really makes life insurance a valuable proposition because we're really providing true leverage with that life insurance over the life of the policy instead of this, I've seen a lot of cases where you have this diminishing leverage, and at some point we might even go upside down on the policy. So if somebody's paying premiums just to get some of their money back, at later ages. So in any case, I think that's pretty compelling stuff. I'm going to just buzz through some of this other stuff here quick since we are running a little bit over. Obviously, as I mentioned, closing the sale hinges on knowing that with absolute certainty you can have the best offer. Well, hopefully you saw that with what Brian just showed you. Like I said, I'm going to kind of skip through a little bit of this, but often the weakest link in selling really is us, because we don't have that confidence that, hey, I've got the best deal, I've got the best offer on the table, and I know nobody can even come close to me. Being able to go into a meeting knowing that we can come in so dramatically better should help you close a ton of business. So, all right, closing key number 3, the best prospects are existing owners of life insurance. So if you're thinking, well, gosh, maybe I don't know, I mean, this looks awesome, but I don't know who I would sell it to. I don't have, the right prospects. I don't know who to talk to. Anybody that's ever bought life insurance is a prospect. That's the low-hanging fruit. They're already sold on life insurance. We can come in and replace cases left and right, potentially, if their health is still in good shape, and we can get them re-underwritten at the same, risk class or close. Those are obviously a little bit subject to case by case, but huge opportunity there with anybody that you already know that owns life insurance for that buy, sell, or key man or estate planning. We may be able to do something fantastic for them, and you can make a huge sale. So, all right, well, I'm not going to keep on that. Obviously, we've been a little bit over here. Hopefully the last 40 minutes you found has been time well spent. If so, go ahead and just type yes into the go-to toolbar. We'd love to hear your feedback. Obviously, we can't cover everything in the 45 minutes that we had here today, so that's exactly why we put together this special offer for you with the tutorial. And obviously, if you do decide to take action today, we're going to give you a really awesome deal today that I think you'll find is an irresistible offer. One thing I've noticed, being in the business a long time, and this is really just human nature, only highly motivated, growth-oriented agents sort of take that step outside the box, that are willing to try something different. You obviously know who you are. You're probably the folks that signed up first for this webcast. So most of us continue to do what we've always done, and that's easy to do because it's inertia. That's it's much easier to drive the same way to work every day than try a different route. Which is why we say old habits die hard. So let me ask you a question. If you were to just follow that first key and started making irresistible offers that had that 70% pricing advantage, and you did what I suggested in Secret 2, and you approached with that absolute certainty that you had the best offer, knowing without a doubt that you can win the case, and then you started to approach existing life insurance owners, do you think you might be able to be successful? If so, go ahead and type yes in the box. Love to see what you think about that. This is a great way to differentiate from the competition because you're not using a single off-the-shelf solution. This is not easily combined. This is not something you can probably figure out on your own. That's why Brian spent 10 years putting all this together, and a lifetime in the insurance industry too on top of that. So, but armed with that differentiation that the competition cannot match, with an irresistible offer that's priced for you to win nearly every case. Now, I'm not saying you're going to win every case just because of price, but at least you'll be in a position where your price is so dramatically better that it's going to be hard for the competition to justify selling what they're offering in comparison to what you're showing. And this is, like I said, a highly unique solution because it is structured. It's a structured solution, not just an off-the-shelf product that anybody can just get. So let's talk a little bit about what you're going to get and what we've put together for you. We have a tutorial that's about 3+ hours of in-depth audio and video training that gets you up to speed on what this is, how it works, how to sell it, and who to sell it to. It's something that's dynamically being adjusted. So as questions come up or new, twists on the technology are developed and software becomes available, we'll be adding all of these things to the program. We also do 12 monthly mastermind calls with an MDRT top of the table producer. Frequently, they will feature Brian as well, so you can ask questions there. You'll have access to unlimited SOLI case designs. On top of that, the opportunity to be mentored by our top of the table agent and #1 producer. I think that's worth about at least $3,200 because this is going to make a huge difference in your career, where just one sale could dramatically exceed that amount, maybe multiple times that. This is just a little glimpse at what some of the tutorial looks like. There's quite a few videos in there. Like I said, more will be added. So obviously, you know, having this kind of a competitive advantage can be a big difference for you. And obviously, if you're an experienced agent looking to get that edge, this is a great way to get you to that next level. If you're a registered rep that hasn't really delved too deeply into the life insurance market with your existing clients, this is a way to knock it out of the park for you. And if you're just brand new in the industry, you know, wouldn't you want to come armed with the ultimate secret weapon that the competition will have really no idea what you're doing, and you're going to be able to walk in the door with such an advantage that you should be able to close a majority of the cases. So here's what a couple of agents I worked with have said about me and working with quantum marketing. Not going to get too much into that. So just a refresher, these are all the things you're going to get. Whoop, and we're going to throw in a little bonus here on top of that. First thing is something called Accelerator. This is a tutorial that's on how to form joint ventures with a center of influence or key strategic partner. It's no longer available. The only way to get it is as a bonus, and that'll be available only in the next 29 hours or 25 hours for the next 25 hours is if you sign up. We think that was, well, we sold that for $5.97 in the past. So, and it includes a few things. One thing just by itself is worth many times the price, is a 30-state template joint venture agreement that was created by an expert law firm that basically shows you how to share comp with people in 30 different states, even if they're unlicensed. And there's a little cheat sheet that goes along with that, some tutorials on how to do all this stuff. On top of that, we're going to include, once it's developed, this hasn't come out yet, but it's in development right now, which is a squeeze page with a video that's consumer facing. It'll be something that you could even use with Facebook marketing, like Facebook ads. So these are all the things you get, including the first two bonuses, and we're going to sweeten the pot one more time with a third bonus. We call this the Authority Program. This includes a nationally syndicated press release that's professionally written. Again, this is available for agents that sign up in the next 25 hours. That's Friday by 4 p.m. Central. This is triggered once you get your first paid SOLI case through the hopper. This is valued at up to $1,500. You know, you could go out on the market and buy one of these yourself. It'll cost you between $1,000 and $1,500 for everything that it includes. It does include syndication in all kinds of major media outlets, including ABC, Fox, NBC, local affiliates, as well as major outlets like Yahoo Finance, the NASDAQ website, and so on. So let's summarize quick and we'll get you on your way. This is all the stuff, and we say that it's valued at about $68.82. Now, obviously, I'm not going to charge you $68.82, but if I did charge you $68.82, and all it did was add one supersized case, you know, give you a 50,000 plus target commission a year, would that be worth it to you to get access to all this stuff? If it gave you that big blue ocean where the competition isn't swimming, that lets you differentiate yourself and have this huge pricing advantage that the competition doesn't have, would that be worth it? Would it make a big difference to your bottom line in your practice? If it landed you a motivated referral partner, because they're going to be excited about this too. You know, if you have a CPA that you already know and work with, and you can come in the door with something that's so dramatically better for their clients, you think they might want to have you do a policy review with anybody they have that owns life insurance? I bet they would. Would that be worth it to you? So what is an opportunity like this worth to you? You know, could it close that big case that you know got away in the past, right? Could this be worth anywhere from $50,000 to $150,000 or more a year to you? What would you pay to get that 70% pricing advantage over the competition, that big blue ocean? A new way to sell to everyone that's already an owner of life insurance. That's pretty cool. So you can see why I think it's a good deal at $68.82. Because you stuck around, because you made it here live, we're going to give you a really special offer for those who are willing to commit to working with ECA Marketing. It's $9.97 for ECA Marketing producing agents. And because you showed up live and did stick around to the end, we've got an even better deal for you. Right now you can get set up for nothing for the first 300 agents. So this is only open to 300 agents nationwide. As of this morning, there are 26 agents already in the program as part of our beta test from the last couple months. So there's 74 more slots open. Today in this webinar, we had over 300 plus registered. So we're going to get a huge flood of inquiries. But what you can do right now, if you want to take advantage of those 3 bonuses that are available for the next 25 hours and get access to the program and be one of the 300, call 800-356-4189 extension. You can ask for a life marketer, or if they're not available, ask for an annuity marketer. Our phones are probably going to be all backed up, all 8 lines right now. So if you're trying to call, please be patient with our front desk, and we'll have someone get back to you as soon as possible. So if you want to make sure you get one of those 300 slots or 274 remaining slots, call 800-356-4189 and ask for your life marketer. If they're not available, ask for the annuity marketer that you normally work with. They know how to get you set up. There is a non-disclosure required as well as carrier contracting. In order to do this, we do have to have people that are committed to working with ECA marketing. This is exclusively available through ECA marketing. So know that this is it. This is the only place you can get it. If you're an FMO, you are also welcome to talk to one of our life marketers, and we can work on setting up an arrangement to offer this through the agents that you work with. And I hope you'll all think about joining the SOLI revolution. This is going to change the way people sell life insurance in the industry. And if you don't change, you're probably going to get left in the dust. Be one of the 300 and join us. Thanks, everyone. We're going to open it up for some questions right now. If you want to stick around, let's just see what we have here. We've got a lot of stuff coming in here, so. Got a question about lower premiums. Does this work with lower death benefits? Brian, I'll let you take that one.
Yeah, we've set the program to be a minimum death benefit at $1 million right now. And for older ages, we might consider doing a little less, but just because of the administration of this, it really is not for smaller policies, $1 million and up.
So that brings up another question. You know, what is the administration like? Is this a lot harder for an advisor to sell if I have all this administration to do? How does that work on the back end, and where does your firm come in?
Well, the way it works is we take applications with 2 insurance companies at the same time, so your client only has to have 1 exam. And then once everything is placed, our office is tracking the billings between both carriers to make sure no mistakes for the first 15 years. And that's all handled so that the agent has no hassle factor for the first 15 years, you know. So I think that's long enough to where if they want some other arrangement beginning in year 16, it should be pretty easy for us to figure out what we need to do. But that's it. In terms of the administration, it's designed to be seamless to the agent, seamless to the client, but there's somebody, us, looking out for it to make sure that mistakes don't get made. And once in a while there could. It's possible that the wrong premium could be sent to the wrong carrier, and then we just have to get it corrected. As long as we're watching it, we'll catch it. It's fine. So.
And let's see. Boy, I'm just trying to pick questions here. That there's a lot of them, and a lot of these questions are going to be answered in the tutorial. That's what we designed it for. Let me see if I can find the next. I know some of you are asking about what insurance carriers we're using here. That can vary, and actually, because of our agreement with Brian and our desire to protect his intellectual property, this is possibly soon to be patent pending, as I understand it. Is that correct? Is that still in the works, Brian?
We're working on it. Yes, sir.
All right. So in any case, that's disclosed after you sign the non-disclosures and get those back to us, and then we'll send you the contracting that's required to get access to the tutorial. So I hope you understand. Let's see.
But top companies, AA rated, very household name, you know, companies you'll be very proud to represent. No tier 3 companies. All these are very top, very well respected companies.
It's not a Puerto Rican based carrier that just started 2 years ago with no rating or something like that. Yeah. All right, let's see. Is your product approved? If so, where? Well, like you said, it's not so much a product as it's a structured solution, but it's basically available everywhere. Some version of this is available everywhere, right, Brian? Currently.
Yes, obviously the non-New York, we have better performance than the New York. But New York, what we have in New York is better than everything else in New York. It's just not as sharp as non-New York, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Which is still pretty good if you're in New York, knowing that you've got limited availability anyways, and we'll still crush whatever's in New York. So.
Yeah, the only thing other than that I've run into up to now is California. Some of the chronic care benefits have some restrictions in the state of California and the state of Florida. That's not a restriction on product. That's just a restriction on that particular benefit of the product, the chronic care part. So the economics of the life insurance transaction are the same. The difference is how we have to illustrate chronic care, or whether we can, depending on the state. That's it. That's pretty modest. No big deal, but that's just there.
Okay, let's see here. Our carrier's highly rated. We already answered that. Any mech situation? No, these are not mech designs. Let's see. Target age group. Let's tackle that. Who can this work for? Is there an age where it just doesn't work?
Once you get above 74, it's a push. I think it's most ages. I would stick below 70 if I were marketing it. I mean, the sweet spot's it's such a wide sweet spot. It's hard to identify. Obviously, most of our larger cases seem to be in the 50s and 60s because that seems to be the age that people are buying the larger block of policies, larger face amounts, the 2 million and up. But if you're a younger agent and you're dealing with people in their 40s, it still works super good. For sure, it's clearly better than all the competing solutions. Down low, in the upper, we start to have more of a trick when you start talking about way up in the 70s. Now, when we get in the 70s, if the client is looking for a wealth transfer solution, we can go with second to die, and it works super well. We've had some just paid this month that were, a couple of $200,000 targets, had 3 $200,000 targets paid in the last 2 weeks. So, those are really good sales. So, it's working.
All right, let's see what we got here. There's still more questions coming in, so feel free to keep typing your questions in the questions box. We ran a little bit past, obviously, our scheduled time. If you want to stick around and listen to the questions here, field additional questions, let us field additional questions. Please hang on. We'll try and get to them as best we can. Is there a commission split? Yes, there is. In order to participate, Brian, you can kind of refresh everybody what you explained, that the targets ultimately are higher with this, and the net bottom line commission to you is probably going to be the same or better than if you just sold like a GUL, for example. But you can kind of tackle that, Brian.
Right. The application split is 20% to our firm, and for that you're getting 15 years of administration. You're getting, a whole presentation that's already priced, ready to go. You don't have to spend any time getting ready for your case. So you have a huge time savings, and your revenue on 80% of the case is generally well north of 100% of a normal case that you otherwise would sell. In some cases, well north, depending on whether it's an LIRP case or in this case, we're talking about protection sales. But we designed the program so the agent does not take a compensation haircut in order to deliver a huge premium savings to their client, so that you feel like everybody's interests are aligned. We understand that no one likes splits, but you're getting something of great value for 20% of the case. But your 80 will enable you to sell far more premium than all the work involved to try to get 100% of every case that you're working on, that if you're asking your clients to pay 50 years of premium when we can get it done for 14 to 16 years with our solution. So it's just much easier to sell, significant premium.
All right, let's see here. There's still quite a few questions I haven't had a chance to tackle yet. I'm trying to get to all of them here, so appreciate everybody's patience here. What about rated cases? Is this still possible with a rated case design?
Yes, rated cases work fine unless we're trying to replace a preferred non-tobacco class. So if you come to me and you've got an old 8-year-old case or 15-year case when the guy was super preferred and now he's table D, that's going to be more of a push because he's 15 years older and also table D. But if he's coming in clean, meaning fresh, looking at a new transaction, and we're looking at Table D with a number of carriers in this East Table D with this transaction, the economics still work best. I mean, it will deliver him the lowest overall outlay. Also, same thing with tobacco. You know, there's a lot of smokers out there that aren't chewers, so guys that won't be able to get a non-tobacco exception for a number of the top carriers. And, you know, as we all know, it's very difficult to sell universal life to smokers. And so, you know, it's not nearly as attractive as the non-tobacco, but it's still more attractive than any other smoker solution that's on the market.
There's a question about, are there any compliance issues with the use of this approach?
Well, I mean, you know, what we've shown you is the numbers are coming from carrier illustrations. In the end, the client has to sign both carrier illustrations saying that they've seen the numbers, no different than they have to sign an illustration when you sell them a single product. You're just selling two at one time, and they understand how the whole thing works together. Essentially, we're making our own universal life policy by bringing two instruments together to improve the overall performance. And we're doing it in a way that does not put the carrier at any disadvantage. You know, usually in the past where I've tried to find missed prices that a carrier might have made, you know, that's the wrong way to go, because sooner or later the carrier closes those little mistakes they might make when they develop products. Here we have two products that meet the carrier pricing assumptions. We're not hurting the insurance company's profitability, so they're not against SOLI. But, you know, they just want to make sure that we communicate how it works to the client. The client understands what we're doing, and they have to sign off on the illustration just like normal. So the compliance essentially would be your normal compliance.
Yeah.
That you would normally be used to. We're not doing anything that is outside the bounds of what I regard as normal selling.
Yeah, it's really, and that's where the focus is. I think, you know, when it comes to a client understanding how this works, they probably don't need to know all the intricacies of how the watch is made. They just want to see the bottom line benefits, although, and what the risks are and how that all works. But the risks are obviously less, in my opinion, dramatically less, because of the additional flexibility than just purchasing a traditional GUL standalone single product solution. So we've got some other questions here. Can this be used to convert existing term policies if somebody already has an existing term policy they wanted to convert into this kind of a approach?
It depends on the carrier. Probably not.
Okay.
It's possible to do part of it as a conversion. Chances are it's going to require new underwriting. But yeah, we'll look at anything on a case by case. If you have a guy that's uninsurable and all we have is the ability to convert, then we'll have to take a look and see if there's anything we can do for you to help you.
See if we can make this whole structured concept work.
Right.
Let's see, what do we have here? Here's somebody asking, making the assumption there are no guarantees. No, absolutely not. Brian, you want to address that again?
Remember, we're combining two products together. 85% of the transaction is a completely guaranteed death benefit with a guaranteed premium structure. The only thing that's not guaranteed is the duration or the number of years that the client has to write a check out of their own pocket. Because essentially what happens in the later years of the transaction is we're taking money from one policy to pay a premium on another. So that maintains the no lapse provisions of policy number 2. So the client still has the same level of guarantee. What we're trying to do is give them a guarantee and also improve their situation to give them a great likelihood of a much, much shorter number of years that they have to write premium payments out of their own pocket. That's the best I can do without a non-disclosure. That is the easiest way to think of it. So if we're projecting 15 years or 16 years of premium payments at the same premium level that everybody else is going to require, that they pay premiums through age 100, then we're basing our numbers on a 5.35 or whatever it is average growth rate. If the growth rate is better than that, then maybe they only have to pay 12 or 13 years. If it's slightly less, maybe they got to pay 17 or 18 years. But that's it. You know, it's still better than paying 50 years of premiums. That's the point of variability in the whole transaction. But that is reasonable, not dangerous.
And there's a question in here, Brian, that's can I get to see actual examples of two policies that accomplish this? And I'll answer that one. Yes, you absolutely can. We just have to get you set up and sign the NDA and get your carrier contracting in. At that point, we can get you a complete case design, show you the whole thing. For those of you who are skeptical still, and we don't have you completely over the edge, I know one of the things that I recommend is you call and talk to your life marketer here at ECA Marketing and request a case design. We'll show you what your case might look like on the front end, so you can see, what a comparison might look like. You don't get all how the watch is made and how it all works, or access to the software, the tutorial, but you'll at least know enough that you can take the next step and get set up, because this is going to really, once you get what the stuff is, this is going to change the entire industry. This isn't just a little gimmick or a product. This is going to change the way you think about how you sell life insurance. This is a paradigm shift in what you're going to do from now on. If you don't get that yet, that's fine. Sign up, get into the tutorial, get into our system, get on our monthly mastermind calls. Once you fully understand this, you're going to be armed with an absolute nuclear weapon in your market where you can just dominate against the competition. So I would not hesitate. Now, if you're still trying to get through to the front desk, I apologize. Please be patient with our front desk. If you still want to get in and get access to those bonuses in the next 25 hours, you get those 3 additional bonuses. Call 800-356-4189, ask for your marketer, and they'll be able to get you everything you need to get set up. I'm going to take just a couple more questions. We're going to wrap it up since we're already a bit over our anticipated time here. Let's see. How would it work if a client has collateral loans on policies? So it sounds like somebody might be talking about a premium finance rescue scenario, maybe. Brian,
it could be that he's pledged his existing policies as collateral for a business loan or something like that, if that's what he's talking about. The answer is we could do it. We just have to get the bank to agree to move the assignment from the current carrier to the new carrier if we deem that, if you and the client and the bank or the lender, whoever the assignee is, can see the improved economics and so forth. Now, or if it's like what you're saying, Jeff, if it's an existing premium finance that needs rescuing,
yeah,
that's an entirely different thing. We just have to model the new design, freeze the loan, and see what we can do to be of assistance to try to help them, and we can do that.
Certainly a possibility. There's a question here. Would you be willing to do 50-50, joint casework if there's a scenario like that where you meet with the client as well as the agent, the first time through, or whenever they? Okay. So yes, opportunity to do joint casework with Brian as well. Let's see. Is there a greater chance of the policy lapsing due to underperformance after the policy is no longer being serviced after that 15 years, by your firm?
No, we'll agree to do it. We're just going to have to charge something beyond the 15th year.
Yeah.
What's happening every year past, not just after the 15th year, but every year, the carrier actually, on an automated basis, certainly by the 15th year, I can demonstrate that it's done as soon as the second year, because we just had some of the first renewals from a year ago. It generates in-force illustrations already so that you can map and plan what's happening. So the client will see an in-force illustration based on the original plan as we go through time. So it's very easy to see what is happening and whether any modifications need to be made to the plan. So I really think that because we're funding more in the first year than you otherwise would, we're actually creating something that's more rigid and more safe for your client than if you do things the way we have just become lazy in our industry, in my opinion, and done, which is just sell some no lapse guarantee with no cash in. If the client needs to make an adjustment, they really can get hurt if they miss a premium payment. They can have an early lapse and all that. We have so much cash value in our product that is so insulated from these kinds of unexpected things. Once you get comfortable with it, I think you'll reach the conclusion that this is actually far less risky than the vast majority of all the transactions that most of us sell every day.
So we're still getting a ton of questions here, Brian. We still have, close to 100 people on the call. So I hope you can stick around a little longer and take a few more of these. But we've got, can a policy be designed so that it can work with split dollar?
Yes.
All right.
Looks fantastic in split dollar, matter of fact. In fact, with split dollar, what we probably should do is charge a little, is make it not be a 15 pay, but maybe make it a shorter duration, because the AFR rate is lower now. So we could certainly work a split dollar transaction that, in fact, we're working on one right now in Denver. It's a $20 million second to die, and I think it's probably going to be split dollar for that very reason. So yes.
All right, next question. Can a 1035 exchange, does this work with 1035 exchanges with no additional premium payments?
It can very well. It depends on the amount of, if we have enough to do the amount of insurance that we want to do, yes, we can do that, yes.
Yeah, and I think we've done a design that looked pretty fantastic with that. So
yes, we can do that.
Does, let's see what else here. Does this work to replace IUL policies that are not performing according to their initial illustration? I guess that would depend on what the goal is, if it's death benefit or just wanting to get a better, performance out of the accumulation.
Yes, I mean, generally speaking, yes. It's just, you hate to replace things that are sold just a year ago or 2 years ago, but you could, depending on, what's happening.
Yeah.
Generally, it's helpful to have some cash value to transfer when you're replacing, just to jumpstart the transaction and use, and create something that has a lower cost structure. But yes, we can take a look at that, and we can do a before and after. We could take an in-force illustration of the current plan and then compare it to a new SOLI, and then see how it compares, so that you can lay that before your client and see what you can do to get a new transaction to sell. If you do not have any cash value in your existing transaction, and let's say, for example, you sold an in-force no lapse guarantee from years ago, what we may be able to do is piggyback on top of that by lowering the face of the existing no lapse guarantee, and then coming up with an overlay strategy using SOLI, so that we're not actually replacing the old policy, we are building it into our plan. And so we can create a proposal that reflects that, and so that you have a really great opportunity to maybe add chronic care, or maybe you sold single life and you need to add second to die, or vice versa, then that allows us to do that. So there's lots of opportunity here.
Let's see, what are we, I'm just trying to tackle the most relevant questions. Let's see here. There's a question about getting set up here. So do I have to be contracted with 2 different carriers? You do have to complete the NDA for Quantum, and Brian has an NDA and agreement as well. And then at that point, we will send you contracting for the 2 carriers. They do have to be, and that business does have to be placed through ECA marketing. So yes, you do have to be contracted with the 2 carriers that we're using. Will the recording be sent to attendees? You'll have to request that from your life marketer here at ECA Marketing. Otherwise, we are automatically sending it out to folks that didn't attend, but for attendees, you'll have to request it. Let me see here. If I call back later today, can I still get the 0 cost startup? Yes, this is actually, you've got to enroll by Friday at 4 p.m. Central in order to get the 0 cost and the bonuses. So Friday at 4 p.m. Central. So you have 25 hours to get set up. Let's see, what else do we have here? Can we use this with qualified money? Can we do this with a qualified account funds?
No, you cannot.
Okay. Could it be done in like a 401k or solo K plan if you have the right plan administrator for qualified? Not sure. Yeah. Okay. Potentially. So potentially it could be. We just. Okay. Is there a way to email express the sign up stuff? If you have your email, the email of your marketer here at ECA, they can send you the setup info. So if you're still having trouble getting through, just hang tight. You know, our front desk is doing their best to get your calls routed and take them. We have 8 lines, and you know, we had 300 plus people registered for the webcast, and we still have nearly 75 people still on the line, and we're well past the scheduled end time of the webcast here. So yeah, if you're still trying to get through, please be patient. Once we wrap this up, I'm gonna start trying to take calls as well and get to you as quick as I can. You can also leave a voicemail with your marketer too. So if the front desk offers that, just leave a voicemail, because our whole team is going to be just responding to voicemails and getting the setup email out to you as soon as possible, so you can take action and get everything set up. That'll be the next couple of days. So let me just see if there's any other questions. Otherwise, I think we're going to wrap it up here, because they're starting to slow down a little bit. Can an ILIT be the owner of both policies? I'll let you answer that. Yep. All right. Somebody said I was sent to the voicemail of someone out of the office until Monday. We'll have someone check all the voicemails, so don't worry. We'll be sure to make sure that there's no voicemail that nobody gets back to you. We're going to make sure somebody's responding to everyone here. So if you get put into voicemail, we will be checking those to make sure that you get your startup info. Somebody's asking about living benefits. I think this will just be our last question that we're going to field here. So how does that work on one or both policies? I know that can vary by state. So
yes, assuming it's most states, then we would have significant, very attractive chronic care living benefits built into the plan, and that's it costs more to have that, as I illustrated in the software. It's a little bit more because the carrier charges a little bit more to have the really good living benefits. There are some that don't charge anything, but they do a discount of the death benefit, and both are available in the program depending on your preference. But based on the economics, to me, it looks more attractive to go ahead and pay the extra, so that you can get 100% advance of the entire death benefit of one of the policies, so that you can clearly tell the client precisely what the amount of the living benefits are, so that it doesn't have to just be a buzzword. Instead of a general statement, you have living benefits, it's more, we can be very precise. Yeah, we can tell them exactly how much they have, so they know what they're buying at the point of sale.
All right. Well, Brian, we've gone an hour and a half, which I wasn't expecting. So I want to thank everybody for joining today, and thanks for sticking around. I'm excited that you guys are so excited about this. I know I've been, anticipating this call for 2 months, and was so excited to see the turnout today. I'm glad this is something that you guys want to participate in. I think it's going to change your business and your life. So thanks so much. Keep trying. Get on that 800-356-4189. Someone's going to get to you soon. We'll get back to you if you can't get through live right now. Again, just be patient. We're just getting hammered with phone calls with people wanting to get set up. So appreciate it. We look forward very much to working with you. And thanks so much, Brian, for being on the call. And let's wrap it up. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.